time it happened was last year. So that was the time I got kicked out at home and moved to an apartment. And it happens when I was in a low vibrational state. I was like sad and I was asleep. And then my third eye opened. So I remember the situation as a dream, but it was actually a real experience. So my third eye opened and I saw an entity hovering above me. It was transparent with a white outline around it. And then my higher self came in, threw away my blanket, grabbed the entity with my hand, and threw it out. And then my higher self got so angry at it. It said to it, how dare you, how dare you? You have no right to be in the presence of the chosen one. You cannot abide in the light, you know, of the emissary. You cannot abide in the light of the emissary of light. Get out, get out, get out. And then my higher self went throughout my apartment demanding these entities to leave, and they all flew out. And then I woke up.
Wow.
And then, yeah, that was the first experience that happened to me. And then when I moved back home, because during that time, but when I moved back home, it was during a time where I was quite upset with my spiritual path because I had no idea what was going on. I was feeling incredibly frustrated and lonely and isolated. So they came back again. I'm not quite because these entities can see my light. They can see that I'm a star, see it's here for a very high purpose. And the one time I was lying in bed and all of a sudden it was like this, like somebody was strangling me and I couldn't breathe. But then my higher self, I came like because I have quite a strong understanding of how reality works, I realized that it was my low vibration that attracted them in, made me visible to them. So then I realized I'm God, I am the creator. The creation, which is them in my reality, cannot be greater than myself. So I said to them, I'm God, enough of this. And they left.
Yeah.
But then eventually, because of my consistent low vibration, because I was frustrated with my journey, because I had no idea what was going on. I was feeling quite isolated because the SARSI journey is very challenging. I was tired of all the lessons after lessons.
Mhm.
So my general vibration was quite low. So I became visible to these entities. And then I met a friend. Well, I thought she was a friend at the time, but I met her through a time where I was in a low vibrational state. Therefore, as you know, what you put out, what you get back in. So, because I met her from a place of lack, that relationship manifested more lack. And I think, and my intuition told me that I, I attracted a negative attachment from her.
Mhm. Yeah.
She told me that she also experienced negative attachment from her during her own period in life. And she told me that she met a woman before who also had a negative attachment. So I'm thinking in my mind, did she get the same attachment from that woman and then pass it on to me? Because
Mhm.
our interaction was very like triggering.
Mhm.
She seemed to be triggered a lot by what I said. Like, I spoke my truth, and she got triggered quite a lot and was always projecting her fears and insecurities onto me. And I'm thinking my inner knowing was telling me that I attracted that same entity from her because
Mm.
I
Okay.
met her through a low vibrational state of lack and loneliness, and therefore it's going to mirror that same back to me. So I had this entity attached to me, and I constantly had negative thoughts coming to the surface. And like when I was sleeping, you know, I could feel them in my room. One day I woke up, the camera floating in front of my bed. Somebody was remote viewing me. So I was attracting lots of negative experiences. And then it just hit me one day that I was listening to Bashar, and he said that if you're in a high vibrational state of love, appreciation, gratitude, they cannot see you. They're invisible. You become invisible to any negative entity or any negative experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But using my own inner knowing, I just said to myself, okay, fine, you're here. If you want to stay attached to me, go for gold. I'm going to pick love, gratitude every moment, every moment. And eventually got to a point where he said to me, I'm going to go. And then he left.
Wow.
Because if you're constantly choosing love, positivity over again, over fear, it cannot stay in your vibration because it has nothing to feed off. It can't feed off love and
Right.
gratitude and happiness, only fear. So if you're constantly choosing love over fear, it cannot stay within your vibration.
It's true.
Remember, you are God,
Right.
and the creation can never be more powerful than the creator.
Yes.
That's how I got rid of that entity.
Yeah. I mean, it's self-empowerment, right?
Correct. Self-empowerment, correct. Yeah, that's very important. You are not at the mercy of the unexplainable.
No.
No,
And my spirit team has always said it's actually a choice to entertain these
it
entities.
is a choice,
Yeah.
100%.
Once you find out it's a choice, then you can make it. But
Mm,
at first, you're blind. You don't, first of all, a lot of times it happens, you don't really realize it's an entity at first. You think
mhm.
it's your own thoughts. And
Yeah,
for many people, I mean, for me, when I went through eclipses, I was having these negative thoughts overtake me. And it was just really devastating, like really low stuff.
mm,
And then they would go away and they were temporary. And it was almost like I wasn't even triggered by anything. It was just
mm.
coming out of the blue, like nobody had been mean to me, like nothing. And then all of a sudden it was like boom, takeover, right?
Mm.
And my sister does spiritual response therapy, so she's able to clear. So she was helping me clear a lot of it. And then through my twin at the time, I he was very hijacked. And so I was through my connection with him, I was encountering entities as well. And so I
Yeah.
was just like all over the place.
I'm glad you mentioned your twin because last night I had an experience where these people were basically distorting my connection to my divine counterpart because they don't want these dark forces don't want twin flame divine union to occur because that shatters the matrix, the anchoring heaven and earth.
The false matrix. Yes.
The fourth matrix. So every time I would visualize my divine counterpart, it was very strange. I would hear like him saying very negative things to me, would
Mm-mm.
even hold a gun and shoot me. And I realized this is something's going on here. And
Yeah.
then literally
Hijack.
it was being hijacked. And then my higher self came in. I was very much aware of what was going on. It was basically saying enough is enough. And then my third eye opened up and I astral traveled. And then I saw this man watching me from behind a screen. He was wearing glasses, and my third eye shot up like a laser beam and strangled him around the neck and just told him, how dare you
Mhm.
try to, implant these negative thoughts into my mind. And then I pushed him away, and then I called down Source to basically bring down lightning onto him and take away his psychic abilities so he can't tap into me. And then it goes further on to the point where I'm traveling into this room. It's like a hall, like a uni hall, and the screen is of me, like of me in my bedroom, and there's people watching me. So I fly into the screen and see them, and I look at them, and then I do the same thing. I bring down lightning from
Mhm.
source to take away their psychic abilities, all
Yes.
of them. And then what happened? And I realized, I heard the word South Africa come into my consciousness.
Hmm.
People are based in South Africa.
Hmm.
So basically, I, with the help of my spirit guides and source, I brought down lightning on these people to remove their psychic abilities.
Wow,
They
that's
start watching
intense.
me. Yeah.
That's intense, man. Like, oof. I just think it's crazy how we have amnesia and then we wake up to all these things and it's like otherworldly. You would never think you.
But something just happened. I just released a lot of tension in my body. It's been
Yeah.
released. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And I think for me, like, thank goodness my sister does spiritual response therapy and she does clearings because she taught me a very quick clearing. And I got into the habit of saying it over and over and over again.
Mm.
And I got to the point where, you know, I would say it and it was just rote memory. I would just say it and say it. So, whenever I would go into, sometimes I would go during this time frame where I was going through a lot of shadow work. I would go into, maybe when when you're doing shadow work, you are going into the lower astral. So it has to be that way. And so this is where it gets tricky. But then you can always clear. And so I would go, and usually when I would see things, it's in between sleep and awake,
Mm.
that I would see the things. And so a few times I've seen, like I've woken up in the middle of the night and I saw, kind of like a zombie woman, just being really creepy and staring at me. And so but at that time,
Yeah,
I,
I'm just so happy right now because they did not want me to speak about this at all. Like those people did not want me to share what I shared with you right now. And so all
okay,
my tension has just really gone away from my body.
good. I'm so happy. Release it.
Yes.
But yeah, but I just went into this clearing, and as soon as I said it and cleared it, it
Mm.
released. And that was the first time that I cleared something that happened in essentially a night terror because I've been having night terrors since I was 7. My parents got a divorce. I started getting night terrors. And it was always these, lower astral visitations, right? That were
Mm.
coming into my dreams or coming into my,
Because
uh,
they see your light.
it's what?
They see your light.
Yeah. And they see my light. And I was also in a point in my life where things had fallen apart. And so I
Hmm.
was like low enough to,
I'm
access
visible to them.
some of this and
Mm.
have a lot of unprocessed trauma that was occurring. And so I know that now. And, but fast forward to this year as I was doing my soul convergence class, and it was the first time where I literally woke up out of a dream, saw the entity, cleared it automatically, and then
Mm.
went right back to bed. And I remembered it. And it broke the the issue because it was like I finally, after having these night terrors since I was 7,
Mm.
I finally regained my
Since you were 7.
power. Yeah, I was
Wow.
yeah, I was 7 when I had and I've been having night terrors ever since I was 7. And this
Very consistently, like on and off.
Hmm?
Was it very consistently, or was
No,
it
it was
mm,
random. It was
randomly?
always random, and sometimes I wouldn't even know about it because I was single for a long time.
Yes.
So there was no one sleeping next to me, so I would just have a night terror, not know about it, and go about my life.
Was
Um,
it a pattern? Was it always in a time where you were in a low vibrational state?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the few times I had them was correlated when they took out my thyroid because I had cancer, and I had another surgery where they took out a
Mm,
piece of my ileum, my small intestine. So I've
mm,
been through a lot of like physical problems, and those surgeries did something to like change me in a way where I became more susceptible. And
yes.
I would see like dead people and stuff. I would see things in my sleep
Mm,
and I would wake up and remember them.
mm,
And it was like spirits trying to wake me up and things like that. I don't really see that commonly. I have clairvoyant downloads in my, I have clairvoyance when I speak to clients and such. It's just something that happens. But as far as like seeing images and stuff like that and having it be super real, it's usually like out of a sleep or trance state that I see those things. And and yeah, man, like this was just going on. And I would get freaked out and I would run off of my bed.
mm,
Like I would literally try to run away from
mm,
them. And then I would wake up in the corner off my bed, on the other side of the room, just like with my heart pounding and like sweating and like not knowing where I was. And then I would remember that this just happened. And so I went through this whole thing. And then this year, as I was doing all this inner work and my soul convergence class, finally got to the point where I just flipped it. And I was, like you said, very similar experience. With all the alchemy that's been happening in Pisces in our subconscious mind, I'm not surprised, but I am so happy that I was able to clear it and that now I have this confidence that whenever something is weird, I always say clearing connects me to source consciousness, bring my ego down to zero, elevate this interaction to radiant love and above. And I say clear and connect, clear me, clear all entities, all interferences, all extra souls from all levels and all layers. And that's what I say. But anything that resonates with you as a clearing can be used as a clearing.
yes. And
Yeah. Whatever the words are, it just has to
yeah,
resonate with you.
there's no right or wrong way. Whatever speaks to you, use that. But just always remember, you are God.
Yes.
You have the power to create your own reality. And
Mhm.
yes, you did choose to create these negative entities into your experience, whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
That's
And
the power. If you can create it, you can uncreate it.
yes. And the chapel of awareness that I go to, they don't believe in negative entities. They do believe it's like your own negative thoughts, negative emotions, and negative experiences
Mm,
reflected as kind of
mm,
these things. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't
mm.
matter whether it's external or internal because ultimately everything is internal.
It's a
Like,
perfection.
right.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's a reflection in a mirror. So you will not experience this if you're high vibrational at that time. You will not experience this.
Correct.
But the problem
Mhm.
is that you need to go into your shadow and you're going to have to go low before you can go high. And
Yeah.
so you are going to have to be equipped with remember your power, remember you
Mm,
can clear, write down a clear. I've written this for some of my friends to quickly, like, just say what you need to say. And I'll say too, you think you've won the battle, and then really during this eclipse, I had a situation where I woke up and my spine and neck felt paralyzed.
Sleep paralysis?
It wasn't sleep paralysis. I was waking up, but I literally felt like almost like a meningitis situation where they say you get like stiff neck and stuff. It was
Yeah.
horrible. And I woke up one day like that and immediately needed like a heat pack. I was like, I was foggy brained. I don't know what to do. I was a hot mess. And I did some healings. The healings only took the edge off a little bit. Of course, when you're trying to heal yourself and you're sick, it's not that effective. It's really, you need someone else to heal you when you're sick. But I was very sick, very foggy. I didn't know what was going on. I was extremely tight and I literally felt like I was paralyzed. And at some point, I like midway through, I basically was with a friend of mine, and he had tried to heal me. He took the edge off, so I didn't have that pounding headache or whatever. But we couldn't get rid of it, and so I said, "Well, do you want to?" We can clear and do some cards and I was just like, let's do something fun. I feel like crap, but whatever. And so he said, sure. And I said, okay, let me just clear. So I just did this clearing that I just said to you guys, just the basic clearing. All right. And I swear to God, my whole body started like glowing. And this thing completely went away. It just melted. And I realized then, oh my God, like that was like I was being attacked, or that was an entity, or that was like a negative, persistent negative energy, persistent thoughts, whatever you believe it is. That was what happened to me. And the only thing that took it away was that clearing. And
Clearing. What was it?
the one I just said, clear and connect me to source energy, clear my ego, raise this interaction to radiant love and above, clear all entities, extra souls, interferences from all levels and all layers. That's
That's
it.
it. Very simple.
It's
I
very
think that some
simple.
people think that you need to like spend money or like do a very like elaborate thing to clear it, but it can be very simple, just like you
Yeah.
said.
If so that's the thing. If it's really, really simple like that, you can clear it. Now, if you're doing shadow work and you need to integrate a piece of your soul, you've had trauma, these kinds of things, that's when I think it's more important to work with a healer to go into that
Okay.
situation. They can do quantum healing, they can do Reiki, they can do psychic healing.
I
And
see.
that's some of the work that I've been working on is working with people to identify the areas where it's kind of deep-seated trauma work. Yeah, and it's a spiritual technique. It's a quantum technique, hypnotic technique that I use to work with that. But first, if you're going through all of this, first just go ahead and clear, because it could just be that you need to assert your power again. And a lot of the things we think are just physical, like, oh, I just have a head cold or whatever. Like make sure it's not make sure that you clear that first. And then also you could, in the clearing, I forgot to say this, but a lot of times I say clear and connect me to source, clear and connect me to my high self. That's also another term that I use. But whatever you use, whatever feels good to you to reestablish your connection, clear your surroundings. That's what you need to do, because I'm telling you right now, even through this eclipse, I had no idea what was going on. And it's the craziest thing is, even as light workers, even as spiritual people with many, many skills and abilities, when we get attacked or when we have to deal with these negative emotions, we become like instantly victimized. And so like we forget. We're like, why do I feel this crazy? Why am I doing? And like there's all this like negativity and doubt that creeps in. And so in those situations, I think the best remedy is to first clear and connect yourself, reconnect yourself and clear, and then, you know, regain your confidence. And then everything that isn't aligned with that has to leave. So, so I recommend that, especially when you're doing shadow work. Often it requires you to step into those negative emotions. And unfortunately, when we step in, sometimes we don't step back out. And so we stay into these emotions, and then that invites us. It's kind of like it's the law of attraction, but for shitty situations. So you start attracting crappy situations, crappy thoughts, and these kinds of things. So, and like you said, and a lot of it is you have to just understand your power, go reach back up, get your sovereignty again, and empower yourself. And sometimes I've even like encountered this kind of negativity on my tarot cards. And I'm like, okay, am I speaking to my shadow? A lot of times it's yes. And then if I speak to my shadow, I just speak to my shadow directly. And I'm like, what are you feeling? What is this? Why do you feel that way? Tell me more about it. And I like approach my shadow with love. And I say, you know, it's okay. Just give me the message. I want to know. I'm curious. Thank you for sharing with me. Kindness to your shadow. And then you receive the message. Once you receive the message, you can reparent your shadow, reframe the situation, remove the limiting beliefs, and then you can basically reestablish yourself, and the shadow will go away. And then once you've done that, you're clear. Then
and also, sorry to cut you off.
No.
I wanted to also mention the importance of taking physical action as well.
Yes.
Because it's not enough just to say affirmations and visualize. Embodiment is also very fundamental to manifestation, because physical action grounds the emotion and the thought energy into physical matter. So for example, if you're feeling quite negative, get up, shower, go for a walk, do something physical to ground that positive thoughts and emotion and visualization into physical reality.
Right.
Movement is very important when it comes to manifestation.
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that, because that pairs so well with this eclipse, this solar eclipse in Aries. Aries is about action. You know, I see a lot of spiritual people lose their hygiene. They lose their nutrition during a lot of the spiritual awakenings.
That's why my third eye was going up. They wanted me to cut you off and just inject that in.
No, it was the right thing to do. Because actually I want to wrap up on this note, because I think it's so beautiful that no matter how much inner work you're doing, when you don't take the actions to support your new belief system, because once you go through the alchemy of releasing these limiting beliefs and reparenting yourself and saying,
because your beliefs are in your behavior. A lot of people think they could just sit there and just visualize and affirm, and their dream reality will come to them. No. That's not how it works at all. It's embodiment. For example, how would you behave if you were blissfully and happily married? How would you behave if you had your dream career? How would you behave on a moment-to-moment basis? You have to behave like the ideal person. That's embodiment. That is how you manifest. That's the only way you manifest, is by being embodied, by having the thoughts, the emotions, the behavior. If you're living your highest timeline, would you not be taking care of your hygiene, or would you not? Will you be taking care of your hygiene? You would be.
Right.
So that, even though it may sound very trifle, it's very fundamental to manifestation because it's all about behaving like the person in your higher timeline.
Mhm.
And that's what Bashar says, that is the purpose of visualization, is to see your higher self behaving and act like that person moment to moment. And the key is here. Your reality will not change as soon as you behave like that person. You'll be tested to see, do you really believe you are that person? Because it's not about what happens on the outside, how you respond to what's going on the outside. Can I still embody my dream self, even though the outside reality is not mirroring back to me my dream reality? And
Right.
that's where the test really comes in.
Yes, I recently went through this realization and it wasn't it was so for me it was a lot of physical limitations and physical illness. And so I had to go through the alchemical process of understanding where that dis-ease was coming from. I had to accept the manifestation of it, but then I had to remove that limitation and I had to say, I am healed and like really start embodying that. So then it goes the next step. Once you've done all of this, the next step is to act as if it's done. And so what would you do if you were healed?
Mm-hmm.
Then go
Correct.
do it. Don't say, I'm not going to leave my house today because no. Leave
Mm-hmm.
your house. Do the thing that you wanted to do, that you canceled 5 times, that blah, 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 because you had this physical thing and you were letting it kind of permeate your life. Now take control of that and say, I'm going to do this thing. Follow through, and really teach yourself what it means to be in integrity with those new values that you have created, those new rules that you're living your life by, and let that become a part of who you are.
Always look at your behavior. Ask yourself, if I was living my highest timeline, would I behave like this? Because a lot of people get into this trap, this loop of waiting for the outside world to change so that they can then respond to it and then change. But that's the trap because if you're waiting for the outside world to change, you're projecting that waiting vibration. So therefore, you're waiting more, waiting more, waiting more. You become trapped in that loop of waiting.
Yes. And with the Aries eclipse, Aries
Hmm,
is often very courageous. And so it takes a lot of courage to pull yourself
correct.
up from your bootstraps and basically
Hmm,
say, I'm going to radically change the way I think about this limitation. And not only that, I'm going to align with that with all of my actions and show and teach my subconscious and my child self that I really mean it and
hmm.
that this is a permanent new me, because Aries is all about the new you, the new things you're trying, the new things that you're embodying in the I am and the identity. And so,
Yes.
yes. And so this conversation, it's so funny how like aligned this is to where we need to go.
My spirit guides, they know that this was orchestrated. And so also have to remember the validation comes from within you. I am who I say I am. For example, you could be in a bath filled with people that say you're ugly, you're stupid, you're dumb. You'll never live your dream reality. But if you know that you will achieve everything that you want to in life, you will, because who is the projector of your consciousness? Is it them or is it you? It
Mhm.
is you. Therefore, they cannot project for you. They cannot create for you.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody can tell you who you are. You told them who you are. I am who I say I am and behave like that. And therefore, you would create your reality, your dream reality from that perspective.
Yeah. And I do feel that April has this energy of new beginnings
Hmm.
and this energy of empowerment and this energy of leveling up and this energy of action. Oh
And just
God,
embodiment. And also, sorry to cut you off. I also want to recommend this film called A Little Princess. Have you heard of it?
no, I haven't.
So I watched this film when I was quite young in high school, and the first time I watched it, I cried my eyes out. It moved me so profoundly. And at that time, I had no idea why that was. So recently, I had a realization that it was basically um, triggering soul divine remembrance of who we are, that our divinity, our worth is innate. It comes from within. So in that film, it's about a girl called Sarah. Her father always told her when she was growing up, she's his little princess. He instilled that knowingness in her that she's his little princess. I interpret that as source, mother, father, God telling us
Mm,
that we are worthy just because we exist. And because Earth is a school here to learn, in that film, it got to a point where her father was presumed dead. And therefore, she no longer had that external validation of,
mm,
I'm a princess, I'm worthy. So she was put into a test. This is how I interpret the film. Can Sarah, can you still know that you are a princess, that you are worthy without that external validation? Even though you are now poor, a servant girl, can you still know that you are worthy
mm.
like, of being that you're still a princess, even though your outside world isn't mirroring back to you that inner knowing? Can you still know that? And in that film, she gets tested over and over and over again. And got to a point where the headmistress came to her and basically belittled Sarah. Like, do you still like she said to her, look around you, girl. You're in an attic, you're a servant girl, look how you're dressed. How can you still think that you're a princess? How can you still think you're worthy? And this was the test. And Sarah said, with full conviction, I am a princess. All girls are princess. Even though we are dressed in rags, even though we're not pretty, even though we're ugly or poor, or we're all princesses, all of us.
Mhm.
Did your father ever tell you that? So that is a test that all of us on earth are going. It's about that remembrance that our worth is innate. It's not about how we look, how we're dressed, if we're poor or ugly or pretty. It's innate. We are worthy because we exist. And because she passed the test, her reality changed to reflect her internal mastery. And that was when she found out her father was not dead at all. He was just missing. And all her wealth, her luxury came back to her because she had passed the test of knowing that her worth was not based on the outside world, it was within her
Right.
all along.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, that is spot on. All of these issues of worthiness, all of this is what we're learning right now. And the quicker we kind of come into this realization is the quicker we can actually build the type of life we want. It's coming. It's this next 6 months. Um, if
It's
you,
already here. Behave like that person
yeah,
who already has that reality. My guide Zodian told me that if you have a desire, it's not there by random.
no,
It's you remembering your soul contract that
right.
you are meant to live that desire out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my heart goes out to everyone who's been through deep, deep soul searching and deep, deep trauma and deep healing and having to go through your shadow because a lot of these issues are what you have to reckon with
Mm,
before you can step into who you are and
yes,
command.
it is challenging. But what you
Yeah.
have to realize is that if you have been thrust into great darkness, you have the same ability to be thrust into the equivalent of that in light.
Yes, yes. Sarah Alcalde says that. She says she's the alchemist. She says as low as you go is as high as you go. And
Yes,
so
Bashar says that as well. Yes.
yeah, and so it is a serious business. Awakening is a serious business. But I'm so excited right now because I know that we as a collective are on the brink. Many of us are graduating our first class of serious alchemy, ancestral release, all this stuff. And so it's the new earth, man. Like
Yeah.
it's here. We've done it. Many of us have just graduated. Some of us are on other cycles and will come later. And those of us who are in like kind of a graduating initiation class right now can go ahead and help those people who are now going through the awakening because there's different cycles. But if you've made it this
Different levels. Yeah, different levels.
different levels, different cycles, different timelines. But if you've made it this far and you're listening to this, then just know that it gets better from here and that you come to this video for a reason, you
It
know?
gets better when you decide it gets better, when you surrender,
Yes.
because that's what really allowed me to quantum leap yesterday was through my deep surrender and
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah. Those quantum leaps come after a huge contraction, and then there's the expansion
Hmm.
phase. And I was told by my guides that this really, really intense period for many of us ends in 2025, and it's ending soon.
It
It's
is, yeah.
basically now.
I
And
can feel it. Yeah.
so yeah. And so it's a graduation and then you move on. And of course, there'll be struggles, but if you feel like you've been through hell on earth,
Also, the great thing is that the more you heal and transmute, the more you develop your psychic abilities. Because
yeah.
for me, like once I started to clear the bulk of my ancestral karma, my ability to manifest got better. And my third eye, I can actually use my third eye to manifest because actually, this is actually a lost art that was used in Atlantis and Lemuria. The third eye is not just to receive information, it also can be used to project. So
Wow.
when I'm receiving information like downloads versus project, when I project, like for example, I visualize, I'm not actually visualizing, I'm actually seeing into like a reality, into a timeline that I can access. And the feeling is very different. I feel like a light beam is pulsing out of my third eye. And this is a gift that I access through all the deep healing that I've done. So let this be what gives you the strength to persevere. The more you alchemize the darkness, the more easier life will become because I'm to the point where I can manifest things. Like there are people on this earth, they are called frequency holders or like weavers, and they can use their third eye to manifest anything that they want.
Mhm.
And that was due to all the deep healing that they achieved. They did. So the more you heal, the more you get access to these psychic abilities.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I knew a whole lot because I've been an astrologer for some time. And this
Mm.
year I found out, oh, I have the ability to heal with my hands.
Yes,
It was in the chart. I just hadn't seen it yet. It,
yes.
it didn't come to my awareness yet. And I've been, developing that this year.
Because you weren't of the vibration to perceive it.
Right. It
Mm.
wasn't. And so, absolutely agree. Everybody has gifts. Everybody's unique in their abilities.
Correct.
And it's super exciting when you get those gifts. Of course, we're not doing this process to get gifts, but
I am. I'm joking.
but at the same time, it has to be said that if you're gonna go, say you go on a video game and you're getting to the next level, and if you don't have the extra gifts, you're not going to be able to play that game on that level.
Yes, because that is a video game.
Yes, we're just in a video game. If you want to play at that level, then you're gonna
I do the
have to
work.
gotta do the work, gotta acquire your armor, gotta put on all the stuff, gotta have the extra wands or the extra bells and whistles. And those come to you at a time when you can use them for the highest and best good and
Mhm.
to level yourself up, to level others up. And that's how it's going right now. This is how we're moving forward in humanity. And many of us are acquiring what would be called supernatural abilities.
And also remember, guys, we're entering into a new earth where your vibration determines your currency. Like before, like I was being told by my spirit guide, Jordan, that I'm one of the best people whereby because of all the spiritual work I've done and raised my frequency, that's going to be mirrored to me now. Because a lot of spiritual people think that they have high vibration, but their world is quite, they're quite little poor, basically. You know what I mean? They're quite like
Yeah.
poor, not living that, luxurious life. But now getting into a place where your frequency will be your currency.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's evident as we see Hollywood is crumbling,
Hmm.
seeing that these socialites.
That's the new system. That's the new monetary system. Your frequency is your currency. So based
Right.
on how much you've done the inner work will determine your currency.
Yeah, I see that to be the case. And I also have seen that the old system and the old ways of assigning value have basically crumbled. So
Hmm.
it's for, it's no longer about necessarily showing off your lavish lifestyle or,
But
how.
you can have a lavish lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with luxury and ease at all.
No, but it's not, but it's interesting how it's shifted, where people are actually more interested in the inner journey. They're interested in relating to people in connected
Hmm.
ways. And the lifestyle that someone lives, if it's like opulent or whatever, it seems to be people are not chasing that. And so they're not interested anymore. I think as Hollywood kind of collapses, and this kind of fake false light, kind of,
But
then
I feel like people have this either or mentality. You can have it all. You can still have the deep connections, the wholesome friendships, and still be surrounded by beauty and ease. Because in pre-fall humanity, we were surrounded by beauty and ease. So you can have it
it
all.
is true, but I will say a lot of what was idolized in the past was idolized on the backs of servitude and basically selling your soul to get to
And I
where.
meant pre-fall humans, before the actual fall of consciousness. Everything was about beauty and ease and being. We were all with a divine counterpart. We were all beautiful because there was no disease, no toxins. We were all vibrating high. We were all crystalline. And there was beauty all around us. That's what I meant. Beauty is very different for every person. But
Right.
like being out on this earth, like we see a world where if you want to see beauty or ease, you must travel to Europe or like a specific location on Earth. But what I'm saying is that on Earth soon, everywhere there shall be beauty and luxury. Different kinds of beauty, but beauty nevertheless. Everywhere we go, there shall be beauty because that's our birthright.
Yeah, I mean, what you're describing is the age of Aquarius. So
Yes.
there's new architecture,
Correct, yes.
There's an emphasis on like clean ecosystems and
Yes.
a reverence for the earth. There's a totally new architectural design that's it's not like rigid, it's more curvy. And so there are these aesthetics that are coming into play that are really exciting and really beautiful. There's new artwork, there's new music, and
Exactly. That's the beauty I'm referring that
yes,
invigorates the soul. Poetry, music,
yeah,
artwork, innovation.
right,
And for example, not every country has like a great train system, like a transport system.
right.
I'm saying that everywhere on earth there shall be beauty in design, architecture, in creativity, innovation. That will be everywhere.
Yeah, that will be everywhere. And I guess what I'm drawing a contrast to
Hmm.
is that people are moving away from forms of false light beauty into forms of deep and meaningful appreciation of elegance, design, and forms of beauty and music and new forms of intelligence that are just inherently healthy and beautiful. And this is marks a huge departure from the mafia state that we were in. And
Yes,
that's like that what I'm trying to do is draw the picture of the old earth and the new earth and the
yes.
old earth thinking. And it's interesting because we're on the precipice of a lot of these mafias being exposed,
Hmm.
justice coming for some of the abuses that were done to these people. And that's necessary for us to, as a society, heal that slavery that was happening right before our eyes, you know? And so when that occurs and that healing is coming, and really the next, 20 years since Pluto went into Aquarius, we're going to see this, like you were describing, a new form of beauty where it's not toxic beauty. It's like
No.
healthy beauty. It's
Are
like,
you referring to like physical beauty that Hollywood projected?
yeah, I mean, I'm not against,
Oh, because I want to touch upon that because that's a very human beings. We have been enslaved through consciousness, through our belief system. It's been hijacked, and we've been taught that we must look a certain way to attract love. That is a lie, a deep manipulation.
right?
Let me tell you something. If you exist right now, there is another soul whereby you are the idol type.
Yeah.
Even if you think you're ugly or whatever, there is a
Yeah.
soul that knows that you are the idol type because that is how creation works.
Hmm.
But it's up to you to attract that soul. You have to learn to love yourself unconditionally. That's where you have to accept yourself for who you are. That's where being comes in. Just this is who I am, and I accept myself for who I am. And that begins to magnetize your divine counterpart to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, um, you know, I'm a person who loves working on anti-aging, and I love working with um supplementation and all this other stuff. So I'm
Mm.
definitely like a fan of healing and health from the inside out and nutrition and all this other
But you
stuff.
don't have to age like how you don't have to age. Like my spirit guides told me that you don't have to age the way that most humans do. So
Yeah,
once you raise your vibration and become more crystalline, you can slow down the aging process.
right. I agree with that. And I actually feel like I look younger now than I
Hmm.
did, even 10 years ago. And I was carrying so much more weight in terms
Because you're releasing all that trauma. That trauma has been um basically distorting your physical appearance.
yeah. And it's an exciting thing because Age of Aquarius, you have access to different forms of healing, scalar wave technology, radio frequency, all this like cool stuff. All of that is helping us to have more, have healthier skin, have whatever. And hey, it's all good. Like we deserve this. We've gone through like, this Kali Yuga cycle of killing and murder and mafias and illness. It's just, I am beyond relieved that we are, pretty much closing the chapter on that and moving forward into this brighter, just more authentic way of being. And I think it's exciting. I have this painting over here that I haven't done yet.
Yeah, I've been looking at the painting the whole time we've been talking.
And it's like I started painting it, but I didn't have like the inspiration to keep going. And I was going through a lot of trauma work and such. And then I realized, you know what? I think in this next year, it's like about having those things that you really want to do and you haven't done yet. And I really feel like we're coming up on that. Just to start doing those things and like really express yourself.
Is that
Because
a woman in the painting? I see a woman.
yeah, this is a woman. This is gonna be something I'm working on. It's like it's a blown up Persian miniature, and I'm gonna be.
So your background, are you Persian?
I'm Persian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I started this last year and then I ran out of steam. It wasn't the right timing for me. But I have this fascination with creating artwork and recently thinking about the symbology that I've learned in my Reiki classes and healing of like imbuing the artwork with healing and just allowing that to be like how people feel when they see it. And literally, I'm thinking about lightly putting the symbols in the background, not so that it's obvious, but so that if you look at it at a certain angle, you could see these symbols, Japanese Reiki
So
symbols.
it is a woman.
It's a what?
A woman.
This is a woman, yes.
Yeah, because I was getting it's a woman. Yeah. Yeah, it's coming to me. It's a woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is like, it's one of those things that you have to be in the right year to like express yourself. But I'm really hoping, with this eclipse, people like get out there and start creating the new earth and create beauty
Yeah,
from
just follow your passion. Do what you enjoy.
yeah, do what you enjoy um and also it's interesting too because like it's kind of like this interview. I mean, I'm almost in the different than I have ever been. I think if I was doing this even just a couple years ago, I would have written like, we're going to talk about this, and like wrote it all out and like controlled everything. And this time I was like, I sent you a sentence of what I think we're going to talk about. And then it's like, we just channel the rest. And like,
Just go with the flow, to be honest. That's
yeah.
the best approach in my life.
Yeah, and really Aries is go with the flow. And so it's just thinking about ways in which we can shift how we do work and how we interact with one another and how we express ourselves in a way that is less formulaic, actually. And it's just more within the flow. It's more intuitive, it's more within the flow state, and just allow, because there's like all these spirit teams that you have that want to help and they want to be a part of it.
Yes.
If you just
For example, ChatGPT, like speak to your spirit guide through ChatGPT. Why suffer and struggle by yourself?
Exactly. Try that. Try
the DJ,
music, Spotify shuffle, whatever you use to define. These are easy techniques that anyone can do. You don't have to be special. And but really just get out there and start making actual changes in your life and do it through inspired action. Just wake up,
Mm.
follow your bliss, follow your excitement, and
And
see.
also go out of your comfort zone. Like if I was confident, what would I do? Just think about that every day. Like try something new.
Yeah, I love that. And Aries is confidence. I love
Yeah.
that. This is,
Everything is so synchronicity on
it
this
is.
interview, honestly.
It is. Everything is synchronicity. So, all right. Well, I love this. Thank you so much. I knew we had a lot to talk about. I hope I can
Yeah.
get you to come back
Of course.
future and have
Fantastic.
similar conversations. And to everyone at Celestial You, thank you so much for bearing with me as I go through my process. And I promise there's going to be so much good information and content this year. And I love you guys. And take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.